Welcome back to Coach Factory. This is the channel where we talk about coaching and your business, your coaching business. You getting what I'm laying down here? It's a business. If you are looking to be full-time as a coach, you have to consider the fact that you are starting a business. You are an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur and business side of things, that is the foundation that establishes the freedom to coach whoever you want, whenever you want. But you need to have those business fundamentals in place as a foundation. Otherwise, you're going to run into trouble. Now, banking institutions have done studies that the majority of businesses that fail don't do so because they're not making money. They fail because they have cash flow issues, because their business isn't being managed optimally. If we really want to be full-time coaches, consider what we're doing as a business. It's foundational to what we're doing here. So let's talk about it. What do you need to have in order to have an effective coaching business? If you are more into reading stuff like this, we have a blog post on coachfactory.co that is linked down below. But let's get into it. If you are establishing a coaching business, the first thing you must have is the capability to think about your business as an entrepreneur. You have to think about it as a business. You have to identify your niche, not because it's going to help you market better, though it is, but no matter what business you have to understand your market. If you are running a restaurant, if you are running a laundromat, if you are running a business that puts pumpkins in front of someone's house and takes them away when the fall season is over, you have to understand the market of the people who buy that. Understanding your niche and understanding your audience is critical for any business. It's even more important in the coaching business. You hear it all the time. Choose a niche, choose a niche. But why do you choose a niche? You choose a niche so that you can understand who it is that you're talking to, who it is that you are marketing to, who your clients are, what your business is all about. Now, if somebody is running a business that is a laundromat, think about the people who need a laundromat. There are people who don't have a washer and dryer in their own home. So they are people who are living in maybe apartment buildings that don't have a facility, or college students, somebody who's living in their RV and doing the hashtag van life, and they don't have a washing machine, so they need to go to a laundromat. These are your target audiences if you are running a laundromat, and a coaching business is no different. Who are the types of people that need your expertise and need your coaching? This isn't just coaching 101, it's business entrepreneurship 101. You have to understand who your target audience is. Let's think about the whole Cracker Barrel rebrand that happened recently, and there was a furor online about this rebrand, and some people were like, oh, well, let's dissect this logo. It wasn't really about the logo. It wasn't even the change of decor within each restaurant. It was a mismatch of understanding who the audience is that goes to Cracker Barrel, who wants to have grits and bacon and have a down-home, nostalgic feeling breakfast with their family. The leadership missed, not because of the logo change or not because of the decor change. It was because they misunderstood their core audience. They misunderstood their niche. So understanding your niche is just part of business 101. You have to understand who your people are. What are they leaning into? What is their psychology? What outcomes are they after? For Cracker Barrel, they're after nostalgia. Their target audience is after nostalgia, Americana, down-home food that grandma used to cook. Cracker Barrel had a very distinct niche, and their brand change kind of missed the mark. It was an interesting analysis of a business that wasn't hitting their target market, wasn't understanding the psychology of the people that they were selling to. As coaches, we can learn from this that it's important to understand the psychology, the needs, and the desires of the people that you are speaking to. This is why you pick a niche as an entrepreneur, as a coach. Another thing that entrepreneurs must have is resilience. They must have a vision of what it is that they're trying to create and why. And you have to have resilience and commitment to that vision. Entrepreneurs have to have a little bit of visionary in them as a motivational dimension in order to understand what it is that they are trying to create. The road to being a successful coach is not going to be paved with yes every single time. You have to understand what no means. You have to understand what an objection is and how to work through those objections. You have to understand when an objection is worth coaching through. If you are talking to a prospect that is giving you a rejection that really tells you that they are not fit for your coaching services, you have to understand and have the intuitive ability to identify that. You also need to understand who your ideal client is, not just for them, for your business, but for yourself. Because you're running the business in order to do the coaching. The coaching is the fun part. The business is the hard part. That's the strategic part. That's the visionary part where you understand what kind of life you are designing for yourself. So if you're talking to a prospect and they don't fit your ideal customer profile and you are starting to see maybe some red flags that this isn't a relationship that is going to work for either one of you, you have to have the resilience and the commitment to your overall vision in order to say, I don't think this coaching relationship is going to serve you or me, or this is something I can't help you with. Let's find someone else for you. I'll see if there's someone in my network who's going to fit for you. You have to have the ability to say no, not only for your client, but for yourself. You have to be able to hear no and be able to pick up and move on. You're going to have to be able to deal with no-shows, dealing with clients who don't do the homework. How are you going to manage all of that? As a coach, as an entrepreneur? As an entrepreneur, you have to establish this kind of resilience in order to have a successful coaching business. If you are just getting started as a coach, you have to have your fundamentals in place for your business. First of all, you need to have a business plan. Even if you are only doing coaching, after hours, it's your side gig, you're only doing it for fun, you have to have a business plan. If you are only doing it for fun, it's just going to be fun. And maybe that's what's right for you. But you probably clicked on this video because you wanted to learn more about entrepreneurship in the coaching business. And if you are serious about building a business that is going to give you freedom from the 9 to 5 eventually, you have to have a business plan. You have to know all of the different aspects of what your business is all about. You have to understand how operations work, how accounting works, how cash flow is going to work, how your operation of your entire business is going to work, how you're going to market, and the plan of pulling it all together. Writing a business plan combines a lot of different motivations. Visionary, I think, is the primary one. You have to have a vision of the future. What does your business really look like? If you want to stay part-time and just do this on the side, and you do a business plan, you'll be able to incorporate that vision of a part-time thriving business into your business plan. But if you're trying to escape the 9 to 5, it's time to get serious. It's time to really outline, what does income look like? What does revenue look like? What does outflows and expenses look like? How much are you going to pay yourself? Who is going to help you run this business? Are you going to do some outsourcing for the tasks that you don't want to do that aren't in your motivational dimensions? Writing a business plan is such a good exercise. When I first started my very first business, I was pretty young and I went to a bunch of classes to learn how to do it and then went through the process of establishing that business plan. It set me up for success. It set me up to operate a business. It was a digital agency at the time that I decided I didn't want to do anymore when I met my husband, and his business was much more exciting. I was running a digital agency, had a few freelancers that supported me, but I didn't want to grow it into this giant behemoth. I had a very clear plan of what I wanted. I wanted to remain a solopreneur. I wanted to have a few people who helped me do the things I didn't want to do, like accounting, but I didn't want to grow a giant business. That was just my choice. My choices now might be different. I might decide to create a giant business someday. What about you? What do you really want? Do you want to be a business owner? Is that something that is exciting to you? How is that going to work? How are you going to lean into your personal motivations and make that happen? Are you happy being a relator most of the time and working with your clients most of the time? What kind of foundational things can you set up so that your business allows you to do the coaching that you want to do? Or maybe you're much more interested in having a business that you're managing other coaches. Or you might be like me and like that solopreneur type of activity where things can flow the way you want to flow. You have to decide who you are, how you're motivated, and then establish that business plan that's going to make a business happen that serves you rather than just creating another job. If you are just getting started, you have to establish your operations, how the business is going to operate, how everything is going to work. And you're going to have to establish how you're going to market yourself, how you're going to find new prospects, how are you going to grow your network. Now, there's tons of ways of doing that. We have some other videos on the channel and plenty of content on coachfactory.co that can walk you through how to do that. We even have some free resources, some free downloads that can help you get started. But you have to decide how it's going to work for you. Who are you and how does your business serve you? What does your operation actually look like? How are you going to handle email? How are you going to handle client tracking? What does all of that look like? You also have to figure out client contracts. And you're going to have to figure out confidentiality agreements and payment processing. How is all of that going to work? Put that into your business plan, because as an entrepreneur, you have to establish plans that are going to help you. Next, how are you going to manage your day-to-day operations as a coaching entrepreneur? How are clients onboarded? How are they offboarded? What kind of agreements do they need to sign? And how are you going to manage all of your client information so that when you are on client call number 4, you remember what was happening in client call number 1? How are you going to track all of this information? There's plenty of tools for doing this. Of course, security, confidentiality, incredibly important. Are you going to have a portal where people can log in and share information with you, or where they can see their progress? How are you going to track the fact that you are helping a client get to some kind of outcome? What kind of software are you going to use? All of these day-to-day operations are things that you need to determine pretty early in developing your coaching business. How are your finances going to be tracked? What kind of software are you going to use to track expenses, to track income, to track revenue, and to track things like the profit and loss statement, the balance sheet, all of these accounting things that a CPA might want to look at when it comes to tax time. You're running a business, so you'll need to have these foundational things in place, because the last thing you want to do on April 14th, right before tax day in the United States, is to go through receipts. You want to make sure that you're tracking things day to day so that you are not scrambling when it's time to do your taxes. Believe me, I've been there. You don't want to do it that way. And day to day, you also have to manage your time and your boundaries. Are you going to take a coaching call at 7 p.m. or is that the time that you have reserved for your family? What about those emergencies that coaching clients can often have when they've fallen off the wagon? If you're a fitness coach and they're hitting the ice cream and cheesecake, What will you do with those types of things? How will you communicate your boundaries to your clients? Because managing your time is critical if you are a coach. You're essentially selling your time. So managing your time and establishing firm boundaries, establishing your time management so that you don't miss a coaching call when one is coming up. There's plenty of online tools that allow for scheduling and for integrating with your calendar, whether you're using Google Calendar or Apple. These online scheduling tools will integrate, and I'm just going to give you one tip that I think is amazing. Notion has a calendar app. And the cool thing about Notion's calendar app is that I have a number of calendars because I've got a number of different things that I manage. And Notion's calendar app is so cool because it can connect to multiple calendars. And on my computer, I have a little bar at the top, and it tells me that in 56 minutes, I have a meeting. So right in front of me, I know how much time I have to deal with a task. And I barely open Notion Calendar at all, but that just the fact that it gives me, I have a meeting in a few minutes that I can know I've got to wrap this video up pretty quickly. So Notion Calendar, super cool. I'll leave a link down below so you can check it out. Now, if you are running a business, if that is your primary focus for establishing a coaching business, you're going to want to scale. You're going to want to grow. You don't want to do the same thing day in, day out. Business is all about growth. If you are a successful business, there is a scorecard, and that scorecard is your revenue. It's pretty simple. Dollars in and expenses low equals profit, and that is what you are after. Now, I have been beating the drum about diversification of income streams for a long time on this channel because I saw for 18 years how my husband ran his coaching business, and I was right there watching where profitability happened and where his freedom came from. And his freedom came from products. He loved doing the coaching. He was amazing as a coach. I've never seen anybody quite like him in a coaching environment. I was in awe. It was one of the reasons why I fell in love and married this man, because he was such a brilliant coach, but he was also an exceptional businessman and knew that products were key. So he had tons of different products that he was selling because it was so foundational to his time freedom. He wanted to be able to coach when he wanted to coach with the clients he wanted to coach with. He did not want to have a coaching business that tied him to Zoom meetings all of the time, even though he enjoyed those types of meetings. He wanted a business that was going to support him and allow us to travel and spend more time with the kids and do all of that. So yes, we ran a business. Yes, we did all of these things, but he also established a foundation that provided financial security for his family through products, through videos that he was creating, through downloads he was creating, through the podcasts, the private podcasts that he was doing for his clients. He had so many different products and different partnerships with others. So they would do a product together or some kind of video product and split the profits. All of these types of things allowed him to have that kind of financial freedom and time freedom, which was really what he was after. He liked to work when it was time, but he also liked his free time as well. So important to diversify your offerings and to build an exceptional team, to have somebody behind you. Now, they don't have to be full-time people, but there are going to be things in your coaching business that you are not good at, that you don't want to do. For my husband, it was accounting. He liked making the money. He didn't like doing the accounting. So I got to do the accounting, but I also didn't like doing the accounting. But I did it because it served the purpose of the business. All of the tech things, dealing with websites and emails and all of those types of things that I did for him because I had the experience and it wasn't that difficult for me. But he wanted to just do the coaching, come up with the products, create the products, and then the rest of it, he was on to the next product. That's one thing that he liked to do. So he had a good team behind him with me, with designers, with other types of people, video editors that would help him create all of these things so he could focus on the things that lit him up. That's one of the benefits of Motivation Code. You identify what lights you up, what is exciting to you, so that you can better manage your business and offload the things that are not going to be exciting for you. With a business, it's incredibly important to measure and track what's going on. This doesn't necessarily only include accounting, but that's a big part of it. You want to know what your monthly income is, what your weekly income is, what your actual cost for each client acquisition is, what your marketing is costing you, and how to optimize all of this. When you understand the numbers and you look at them regularly, you can optimize them and run a better business. You don't have to go deep into Google Analytics. I don't recommend that for anyone, but you have to understand what's there and look for the data that is most meaningful. Now, some common pitfalls to avoid are underpricing your services. You have to understand the entire context of how your pricing feeds into all other aspects of your business. You need to be competitive, but you also have to be value-based. You have to understand your professionalism and what you're bringing to the table, and make sure you're charging a rate that communicates that to prospective clients. If you're undercharging, the psychological impact is that your prospects are going to undervalue what you're bringing to the table. Charge more than you think you need to, because you have to charge what you're worth. And most of us don't value ourselves enough to really put that number on our pricing. So it's always better to go a little bit higher. Another pitfall to avoid is scaling too fast. This is where that business plan comes in. If you have your business planned out and you can identify what scaling and growth actually looks like, you can plan for it. You can put the foundations in place to make sure that you can scale, that you can grow, and that your business will ultimately be something that supports you. Now, we all got into coaching for one reason, because coaching is fun. I know it's fun for me when I'm sitting with a client and they get it. They get the transformation. I get chills. They get tears. I sometimes get tears. But if I don't have a business that supports all of this, that gives me the foundation to do the work that I know I'm here to do, then it's going to be a lot harder to coach. I'm not going to be able to bring my full self to my coaching calls, and you won't either. So set up your business and look at your coaching business as a business, and really find those clients who are going to get lit up by the work that you do. I hope this episode was helpful to you. We'll see you next time on Coach Factory.